I work best alone. I pick these hard things that most people think you can't finish anyway. You go out there, you grind, you're alone, you're in your own head. I work best alone, so those are easier. I figured out a way to kind of challenge your mind, channel it and challenge it at the same time. And I figured out a way to kind of just have an indestructible toolbox in your mind, so shut out a lot of noise. I only have people in my life that need to be there. If you don't need to be in my life, I'm not about acquiring more friends. I'm not about noise. I'm about, okay, are you trying to go somewhere? You can jump on board. If not, I don't want to hear all your problems. Do you have a solution for your problem? That's what I'm all about right now. So I'm not about whining, bitching, complaining. I'm about, okay, we need to go this way. You have to go dark. And what I mean by that is you have to be quiet in your mind. It's okay to be alone. It's also okay to be unhappy. It's okay to be unhappy sometimes, man. It's okay to say, you know what, man, I'm fucked up. So you gotta go to the truth first. Who are you? Get really accountable and say, okay, who am I? What's the truth about me? Get to that dark place in your mind. Figure out, it may take months, it may take years. Figure out your purpose. Figure out what you want to be in life. And then from there, okay, I have my purpose. It may take a long time. No one knows their purpose because it's too loud. Find your purpose. From there, all right, you gotta start planning. People love the planning phase because it's very comfortable. Then from the planning phase, you gotta go to execution. So the execution phase, what we all hate, because that's where the real work begins, and that's when the failure happens, and the failure. So, but you know, that's kind of how you have to do it. One of my best qualities is I'm open-minded to the right people, but I don't respect a lot of people. Because how am I going to respect you, anybody, if you're not grinding it? And I don't mean working out, getting to the gym, really going out there and grinding. So if you don't know how I'm living my life, how am I going to respect you? So you have to be a hard worker, period, dot. You got to work an ass off. That's where I gain respect for you. So if you're working hard every day, now you have an opinion in my eyes. But if I see you every day of your life trying to be better, every day going through all the wickets to be better, you got my attention. I respect you now. So respect is the first thing. I don't drink. I don't go out. My regimen is I wake up, have oatmeal, run, come back, hit the weights, and I stress out at nighttime. I find people that I trust, which is a very small group of people who are honest and true to me, people who will die for me, and I'll die for them. And everybody else, man, you know, do you. And I stay to myself. And I let you do you. I don't judge people, I don't criticize you. You want to be a douchebag and be an ass and not love this country, do whatever you want to do? I don't care, man. I fought for this country for you to do you. And I am all about you doing you because I'm going to do me. And I'm going to do me until I'm dead. And I believe I earned the right. A lot of people haven't earned the right. Just because you live in this country, I mean, you earned the right. You got to live a little bit. Live. A lot of times in my life, I would see people, and it probably was a direct reflection of who I was. Yeah. And I would get mad at them, but in reflection, it's probably just getting mad at myself. I got my milkshake, Brook Rock. I love to see people who were getting beat down. There's scenes that just drove me, and people in my hell weeks, they'd always hear me singing these songs, humming these songs in torturous situations when everybody's quitting this code. I would be somewhere gone. I love a guy who just fights. I put these things in as reminders that you're gonna have to suffer, man. Man, you're gonna have to suffer. To go from this fat to one of the best guys on the planet Earth, this journey is gonna take something that is gonna be incomprehensible to most people. These different visualizations, how I visualize in my self-talk, it became so nasty and dirty that I almost liked the fact that I went 0.25. So it became from being defeated to like, man, you know, maybe tomorrow we can go 0.75. You know, it just became this different mindset. I turned negatives into positives. So I would take it like, who would even think about doing this? So I would sit on my couch saying, who at 297, who can't swim that great, who's scared of the water, would have the balls? Who had the balls to man up, quit a job, and go and just put everything on himself? So it's how I started talking to myself and putting myself in a whole different category, and that would fuel me the next day. And I just kept using that as fuel. It's kept fueling me with the right kind of message that I needed to hear that I was never telling myself. And through time, it became reality to myself. I was so scared of the water that I had to live in the water. I had to become one with the water. So going to the pool used to scare me. And then the bike got easier. I was able to run more. I went from like 1 mile. 1 mile was a great accomplishment. 2 miles, and then from 2 to 3 was a big one. Then I went from 3 to 6. Like they have a warning order that they give people to get ready for buds. And the whole thing was running 6 miles 5 days a week. And that was my goal. And so I just I failed, I'll go back to scratch. Part of the process, this is part of the journey. I had to realize this is part of my process versus just saying, like I used to, I'm just not good enough. If I'm not good enough, we always say that shit. I'm just not good enough, and then we try something else. I'm gonna make myself good enough. And that became my mentality. I'm gonna make myself good enough. I'm misunderstood a lot, but that's all it came down to. I made myself good enough. To be at the point of your life where you don't care about being judged. You can be in a room of 1 million people and they all hate you, and you walk in and you go like this. Not because you're angry at them, because you know yourself. Inside and out, and you know that you've put yourself through hell to be where you're at today. You've walked the walk, you've talked the talk, and you've walked the walk. And that's, to me, what it's all about. It's all about putting those boots on the ground and getting after it every day. And once you do that, you have a feeling about yourself that no one can ever take away or even understand. They haven't taken the time to see what they want in life. Therefore, he's crazy, I'm crazy. They put a title on us. And you know what a title does to people? A title is the greatest separator of all time. It allows you to go away in your comfort zone saying, he's just nuts. He's special person. That gives you a get out of jail free card. You can go ahead and be normal now because we're special people. No, we found what we want in life. That's all it is. That's all it is. And very few people, they're all confused. Life's confusing because they make it confusing. Hey, stop listening to music for a little bit. Put your phone down. Put the computer down. Really focus. It relates to them. They're like, oh man, yeah. They can kind of go back in the dungeon, but these millennials grew up with all this technology and all this noise. It's so noisy out here that they can't hear themselves think. So the people who really get the most bang out of my message, even though millennials follow me the most, are people who are from 30s to 50s. Because they're like, you know what, man? Yeah, I can get that. I remember back when I was a better human being before I started being dependent on my phone and dependent on this and dependent on that. And literally, you can't even have a conversation with somebody nowadays because their minds are so serious conversation, an enlightening conversation. You can't hold a attention span for longer than 15 seconds. That's why you're not successful. It takes a lot longer than 15 seconds to be focused on becoming rich, becoming a better person, becoming smarter, becoming more athletic, losing weight. It takes time. Your mind needs to be focused on that past. You cannot live in that normal mindset. You must be your best on your worst day. And how you do that is you cannot think of a normal mindset. You cannot have a normal mindset. When you look in the mirror, the first thing you see is your reflection. If you don't like what you see in the morning, you lost the war already. It's not about even liking what you see. It's about looking in the mirror and you may start, man, I feel different. That reflection is not everything. It's a feeling you're supposed to get. That's how you start your day. If you leave your house feeling like, okay, I can fight. I've established the mentality to fight. And that all that comes from working out. Life's about self-discipline. We tend to do the things that are easy. And that is it builds no mental toughness. It builds no mental hardening. It builds nothing. When you work out, working out is where you can build that the fastest. Because it's a constant, it gives you instant feedback. But the discipline it takes, it transfers over to all aspects of your life. It's not, people, man, why are you always working out? Stop looking at it that way. This is the foundation of life. Every day I wake up, I am constantly battling that person that is like, man, you know, back in the day, this happened to you, man. All these things start to creep up, even now where you're at today. Every day, you're having to constantly battle. That person's still there. That person always lives. And that's the point about you have to continue to always challenge yourself every day. My life is good right now, but I can't let it be too good. I have to remind myself that these calluses on my hands come from hard work. If you're happy where you're at, Take a few steps backwards and go back to where that one spot that made you. I can go back to how that time felt because that's when I was the hungriest. What did you do today to get uncomfortable? What did you do today to earn that manhood? I'm now comfortable. You need to be in a spot that's hungry. It's just hard work. And I hate to say it, man. Everybody goes, what is your secret, man? What's your secret about business? What's your secret about this? What's your secret about that? You don't want to answer. The answer is, you see his hands? Hard work, man. It's not magic. It's literally, you're going to have to wake up and you're going to have to sit there and say, today's going to suck. And then when that day is over, you're going to wake up again and say, the next day is going to suck. And that's going to be your life. All my ideas come from when the blood pressure, the intensity is high, because that puts me back in the dungeon. I remember when I was 300 pounds, my most inspirational time when I was 300 pounds and I was trying to lose weight, and I was having all these self-talks, trying to find strength all over my brain. So you start to have these different mantras, like almost every 3 or 4 seconds, a different mantra comes up. Just there's a lot of power in that from being that underdog mentality. And whenever I go out to work out, it's not like I'm David Goggins now, 44, I've achieved a lot. Every time I go out to work out, I'm that 300-pound guy spraying for cockroaches, nothing. Because if you think that way, you can only achieve the best. If you've arrived and you go out there, I don't need to be out here doing this. Not getting civilized is about having a savage mentality. A lot of us say, like for instance, I see these athletes right now who retire. I'm 38, I'm 39. I did 20 years at the top of my game, and I'm chilling out now. You see them a year later and how they look. What the hell just happened to you, dude? What the hell? You're one of the greatest athletes of all time. Kids looked up to you. Women, men of all ages looked up to you. And they hit the pinnacle where it's time to retire, and their mind says, whew, I'm civilized. The worst thing that could ever happen to any human being is they become civilized. It's that total accountability. I was the baddest person to ever live. It doesn't go away, man. You gotta wake up. Even though you retired, you never retired. You're setting the example every single day of your life. And being civilized feels so good. I'm sorry, man. Once you get to the top, you may retire, but you ain't never coming back home, man. Now you're judged. People see you falling off. You want to be that guy who knows I may be retired from the sport or wherever I did, but I'll be damned if you ever see me not arriving. People, I've arrived. I've arrived mentality. You're always setting the example. Civilization feels so good. These comfortable feelings are what people want. They want retirement. They want that. They need that. It's a yearning feeling. I want it too. People love putting a label on me about, my God, man, you're just wired different. I'm thinking right now, after I got past my stuttering thing, now I'm on a roll, I'm good now. I'm constantly callousing over my victim's mentality that I once had growing up. Because why? When you stop doing it, you don't just maintain it. If you stop shooting a gun, you're not gonna be a great shot if you pick a gun up a year from now. The only way to keep from getting rusty, you gotta keep challenging it every day.
It's not enough you made to the NFL, beat the MVP. It's not enough you ran a 5K, win a 10K. It's not enough you became a doctor, be a better doctor. It's not enough you lost 50 pounds. Go out there and do something with it. Guess what? It's 109 out here, but guess what? It's not enough. Stay hard.
Where do I see myself? And then I start making these plans on how I'm going to get there. And I don't deviate from that plan. So that's kind of how I do them now. I mean, it's a lot more to it than that, but it's a lot of quiet time. I shut out a lot of noise. I only have people in my life that need to be there. If you don't need to be in my life, I'm not about acquiring more friends. I'm not about noise. I'm about, okay, are you trying to go somewhere? You can jump on board. If not, I don't want to hear all your problems. Do you have a solution for your problem? That's what I'm all about right now. So I'm not about whining, complaining. I'm about, okay, we need to go this way. Every day, we're seeing who we are as people. When I was growing up, I lied for people to accept me because I didn't accept myself. So I would make up stories so that you would accept me into your world. Everything I did was for someone else to like me. It wasn't until I started reading my own book about how pathetic I was as a human being. I can blame my dad, I can blame kids at school, I could blame having health issues, ADD, my mom not being around. I could blame a lot of people. And that's the book I was reading. And I put it off on everybody else. It wasn't until I said, you know what? For me to fix this, I gotta read what the hell is wrong with David Goggins. Not blame anybody. Read my book and say, okay, I'm afraid of my shadow. How can I overcome that? Go in the military, get your ass kicked, do things you hate to do. Be uncomfortable every day of your life. Roger that. I'm not the smartest kid in the world. Okay, roger that. We're running from the truth. We're running from the truth, man. So the only way I became successful was going towards the truth. As painful and as brutal as it is, it changed me. It allowed me to become, in my own right, who I am today. How? That's the question. How are you going to do that? Thicken your skin. Become more of a human being. Don't be afraid of the reflection in the mirror, because that's all you can be afraid of. Once you overcome the reflection in the mirror, you've done it. Most of this generation quits the second they get talked to. You did this wrong, or they get yelled at. It's so easy to be great nowadays because everybody else is, most people are weak. This is a softened generation. So if you have any mental toughness, any ability, if you have any fraction of self-discipline, the ability to not want to do it but still do it. People have a hard thing understanding. I hate to run. And what makes me so crazy, it doesn't anymore, is people go, well, why do you run if you hate it? What are you talking about? I don't want to take showers and eat either. I hate that too. That's life, man. It wasn't until I changed that mentality that I became somebody. But if you can get through to doing things that you hate to do, on the other side is greatness. That's what people don't understand. By me running, I am callous in my mind. I'm not training for a race. I'm training for life. I'm training for the time when I get that 2 o'clock in the morning call that my mom is dead or something happens tragic in life. I don't fall apart. I'm training my mind and my body and my spirit so it's all one, so I can handle what life is going to throw at me. Because the life I've lived, it throws a whole bunch at you. And if you're not physically and mentally prepared for that, you're just going to crumble and you're good for nobody. What is this thing up here that just has me on a tightrope and just walks me into all these horrible decisions I make and makes me feel so pathetic and weak and insignificant and dumb and stupid and everything? I got to get control of this thing. But it's amazing that once you get control of that thing, how far you can go. I want my mind to know who's in charge. My mind was in charge of me, which is why I made all these horrible decisions. Once you take control of your mind, you start making decisions for yourself versus your mind making decisions for you. Now thinking about all these different obstacles that may come up. So basically a lot of us aren't prepared for life. We get up willy-nilly and just hope life is going to happen. It is going to happen, but it's going to happen with a prepared mind or an unprepared mind. Most people attack life with an unprepared mind. What I do is I try to account for all things that could happen, might happen, probably will happen, and then the unknowns. I know for a fact I'm not going to want to work out tomorrow. Therefore, I'm preparing my mind for that. I don't want to do that. I know tomorrow will come with some difficult decisions to make. It may come with getting a phone call saying someone died, this happened, that happened. Be ready for life. Don't let life just start attacking you left and right. Make sure that you start to build a mental armor so then you're ready for life. And that comes with a very physical way, and the physical helps out the mental. It was something I realized I had zero discipline, zero self-discipline. I have so many learning disabilities, it's not even funny. So I just sit down at the table and spend so much time in this, reading and writing and learning. And that kind of translated over to my self-discipline with working out. Everything about it is self-discipline. Everything about it is no one's gonna save you. No one's gonna come out of the woods and say, hey, I got your back, man. So the only person coming to save you is yourself. Don't look around the corner hoping, I'm gonna sit on this couch and hope for a miracle. It might come to that 1%, but it ain't coming to most of us. So you better start getting to work. What I'm doing now, there's not enough fuel in my past. And once you sort it out, that flame goes out. It is a very, very powerful thing, but it can't overcome everything. I was angry once I was able to uncover the rug and look at all these different shells that I collected over the years. Because what happens is when you start to collect all these shells, and these shells are bad things of your life, and you put them in your nice treasure chest and you hide them. It reminds you of where you were at, but you don't want to visit them all the time. It was a tough way to go. But now looking back on it, man, I don't have any more shells. Now what's your passion? So now my passion is still trying to find out what is left. What is more? Can I be driven without the anger? And I can be. I've only dissected 44 years of my life. While I'm still living, I'm still in my live autopsy. You know, right now, until I'm dead, I'm still examining human potential. How far can the mind go? How far can we go? He's crazy. I'm crazy. They put a title on us. It allows you to go away in your comfort zone saying, he's just nuts. He's special person. That gives you a get out of jail free card. You can go ahead and be normal now because we're special people. No, we found what we want in life. That's all it is. That's all it is. And very few people, they're all confused. Life's confusing because they make it confusing. Jealousy, 100%. You have to, if you're jealous about anything, that is a horrible thing. Back in the day when you're insecure. So all this stuff comes from conquering yourself. Once you feel good about yourself, all the anger, jealousy, these things start to really go away. She's like, I'm good.
Bones were just hurting so bad. My body was just broken. And I learned to get over that also. And I tried to swim a lot. I wasn't a great swimmer, but putting fins on kind of equalized my body. I wasn't so negative buoyant. So I started finning a whole bunch. And I spent hours in the pool. Hours in the pool. I was so scared of the water that I had to live in the water. I had to become one with the water. So going to the pool used to scare me. I went to the pool an awful lot. And then the bike got easier. I was able to run more. I went from like 1 mile. 1 mile was a great accomplishment. 2 miles, and then from 2 to 3 was a big one. Then I went from 3 to 6. And that was my goal. And so I failed, I go back to scratch. I used some positive motivation, but I started realizing this is part of the process. This is part of the journey. I had to realize this is part of my process versus just saying, like I used to, I'm just not good enough. If I'm not good enough, we always say that, I'm just not good enough, and then we try something else. I'm gonna make myself good enough. And that became my mentality. I'm gonna make myself good enough. And so I'm misunderstood a lot, but that's all it came down to. I made myself good enough.
You have an obligation, not to yourself, but to everybody out there that is touched by what you do as a human being. While nobody knows what I'm doing, I am a virtual trainer mentally, because there's a lot of people out there saying, man, David Goggins is getting after today. And if I wake up one morning and don't do that, I go back to that David Goggins who lied about being who he wanted to be. My thing that keeps me going every day is my mission in life, while I did not choose it, is to always stay the course. In your brain, is the most powerful weapon. Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. Your brain is the only thing you have when you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, when you're going through death. You're alone. You're alone. You may have a shrink you're going to, you may have a best friend you're going to, but there's 24 hours in the day where you're alone in this brain. And your brain is talking to you in all kinds of ways. And it wants to control you and pull you in these different pockets. If you can't control your own brain and your brain controls you, you got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over. And all I knew back then was hard work. The only way anything gets accomplished. That's all I heard back in those days. You gotta work hard. You gotta work hard. I told myself after the first time, I knew it was gonna be a long journey there. My body was breaking down. It was just how it was going on. I said, you know what? This is my new norm. So my mind said, it's like going to work. Like you go to work, you put your suit and tie on. I go into suffering every day. Every day, suffering, being broken, duct taping my feet up, stress fractures, shin splints, being broken. This is my new norm. And your mind says, if we're not broken, this ain't normal. We gotta be broken. So then your mind starts to get tougher and tougher and more callous. People, how'd you run on broken feet? Broken shins. My mind knew this is how we operate. We're in Navy SEAL training. This is what we are. I became hell, and that became my new norm. I gave myself no way out. There was nothing outside these walls of hell. Nothing. I loved God. But for a short period of time, I became the devil because that was hell. I became the boss, the owner, the CEO of Navy SEAL training. That was my mindset. And that's how you get through things. You immerse yourself wherever it is, and you become that. You become that.
The days I couldn't run that far, the next week, I would do 2 a days. If I ran a quarter of a mile, I wait a fucking couple hours. It haunt me, bother me. I try to run a half a mile next time. Same day. You can do more than this. If I had to walk, I had to walk. It just became just a process of grinding and grinding. And grinding is not even a good word for it. It's not even a good word for it. Just going further and further. And then when I got through running, I go to the bike. I go to the pool. If I got tired somewhere, my legs were tired, I go to the gym. And I developed this crazy workout where I was doing volume 300 reps of like very lightweight. People always say, how come you don't have any like loose skin? My workout routine in the gym became sick. It became sick. I was just doing 300 reps, 400 reps. I would rack it, get back on it, just rep it out, trying to burn as many calories as I can, build that muscle mass. And I just became obsessed with it. I believe that most human beings are only living at about 40% of their capability. We have a factory, a nice governor in our brain, and it's a survival mechanism. It protects us from pain and suffering. Our mind says, oh no, this isn't fun. We should back off. We should sit down, find something more comfortable. And there's something about the mind. The mind has the tactical advantage over you at all times. At all times of your life, the mind has a tactical advantage over you. Why is that? It knows what you're afraid of. It knows your insecurities. It knows your deep, dark lies. And it starts to push you away. It pushes you in a direction that is comfortable. The mind controls everything. So what I realized was that when I was growing up and I was 300 pounds and I got all fat and I got all insecure, I realized that my mind kept taking me in this direction. When things got uncomfortable for me, when I was facing my insecurities, when I was facing my fears, my mind said, oh no, we have the tactical advantage. We need to separate you from this feeling over here. Life's all about feelings. We want the happy feeling. We don't want that feeling of this sucks. Why am I here? And you don't have any, so you can't answer those questions, so you leave. I started realizing that if in that moment you can answer those questions and you are now in charge of your brain versus your brain ruling you, that's where all that stuff comes from. So the 40% rule is all of that. You get to 40%, your brain says, we're done. Let's roll, man. This is starting to get painful. This is uncomfortable. So you sit down. You have to figure out ways, and everybody's different. That's how the book kind of talks about, like we all have these things about 5 steps to this and 4 steps to this. It's a lot more than that. It's a habit. So if you know that at 40%, I'm feeling pain. At 40%, I'm feeling pain. That's where the 40% rule kicks in. Now it starts. Okay, I'm feeling pain. My mind's saying, get out of here, run, flee. The fight or flight kicks in. Okay, we're done. We're not good enough. It starts telling you all these things. You start to believe it because the mind controls all. This is the time where you have to gain control back of your mind. It's okay, let me see if I can go 45%. And once you start giving yourself more and more hope and start realizing, okay, the mind starts to be, okay, what are you doing? We're supposed to be going right and you're going left. You start then controlling your mind. Start finding more in yourself, and then it goes from 40% to a lot further than that. But that's the start of it, though. Get to the spot where your mind is saying stop. Wherever that is, you gotta get there first. You gotta control yourself in that moment. You have to have the truth to have a starting point. If I'm lying to you about who I am, there's no starting point. There's a false reality. You have to create the real reality. So for me, I was lying to this, lying about that, so I had no starting point. Once you come face to face with who you are, you have a starting point. All right, I'm not real smart. I have no courage. I have no self-esteem. I have no nothing. Nothing. That's my starting point. Now we can move from there. But if I tell myself I'm strong, I have courage, I'm smart, and all these are lies, you continuously push that starting point backwards. So that starting point is the truth that only you can tell yourself. We like to surround ourselves. It makes us feel so good. Those people who say, it's okay, it's okay. It's not okay. It isn't okay, man. And I get it, society's changing. We love to feel wanted and loved. Trust me, that's all important. It is. But you have to have the truth from people. Hey, you're not working your butt off hard enough. You're not trying hard enough. We all think we're trying hard. But what are you gauging that off of? Are you gauging off of, like I talked to this one kid the other day, college is kicking my ass. I said, what are you gauging that off of? I go, are you trying? He goes, yeah, I'm trying my ass off. I'm studying hard. I go, what are you gauging trying hard off of? Well, in high school, I didn't have to try at all. And I made great grades. In college, I'm trying hard. You're trying hard compared to what you did in high school, which was it came easy to you. So your reality is something you created off of something easy. So you trying hard is 2 hours of studying. I'm gonna tell you the difference in trying hard and trying hard. Trying hard is something in your mind just doesn't stop, where you know 2 hours isn't enough. So it's all about, reality and what you're basing things off of. When I was 297 pounds and I was fat as hell trying to be a Navy SEAL, the scariest thing in the world to me, even to this day, was that could have been the rest of my life. I thought then I was trying hard. That's the scariest thing in the world. I thought then, 297 pound, working for Ecolab, spraying for cockroaches, making $1,000 a month. I thought that was me at my 100% potential. Come to find out, a few years later, I wasn't anywhere near that. 106 pounds less, graduate Navy SEAL training, went on to do all these other things. Looking back on that, that was me trying hard. That's why people gotta understand, what is in us, we have no idea until we start trying hard. And I mean really trying hard, where you're obsessed with, hey, this is my new norm. My new norm is that, wow, this isn't always fun. It's not always meant to be fun. And that's when you know you're trying hard. We have the easy voice, telling yourself, I'm easy at 90% of my full potential, maybe 100% at that 20%. That's that voice that we all love. That's that very comfortable voice that's that mommy holding you saying, it's gonna be okay. Doesn't care how good you are, just loves you. Just loves you no matter how messed up you are in life. That's where you wanna be at. And we live over here in this land. So what you have to do first is turn up this voice over here. The voice saying things to you that aren't nice. And it's not putting yourself down. People take this the wrong way in this new society. I'm not saying to put yourself down. I'm saying listen to the truth. And the truth isn't in the 20%. The truth is in this other part of your brain saying, look, man, you're wasting a bunch of percentage here. We have 80 more percent that we're not tapping into, because in this other 80% is suffering, pain, failure, self-doubt, darkness, and then a whole bunch of light. So a lot of us know that. I can get over here, but over here, man, this is much better, because I gotta go through this journey that is not fun. This from 20 to 100% is not fun. So we decide to live over here. So everybody goes, how do you do that? You know exactly how to do that. You know exactly, it's not a magic trick. It's all back down to a very primitive mindset of we just have to do. It's like breathing. Breathing becomes normal. Like we don't even know that we're doing it. That's how you have to live your life. When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, this is what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, I'm not saying physical, I'm not saying you got to break yourself off. The amount of mental pain of how many times you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go is going to be, there's going to be more times you do something that you don't want to do than you are going to want to do it. And that's your new norm. That's your new norm. So then it's like breathing. And then once you do this over and over and over again, it becomes like breathing. I don't want to live this lifestyle, but to get to the other side of this, I have to.